Welcome everyone. Here's a yoga sequence where you're going to use the wall to assist your practice. This is a lovely sequence to stretch out through the shoulders especially. You'll need for this one your yoga mat, a blanket and a big clear space of wall. Let me know how it goes. Alright, so we're going to start with a downward facing dog against the wall. So the good way of finding out your best distance to be from the wall is to come a step back from the wall and just aim to touch the wall sort of about your hip height with your toes. So for me, I'm going to have to come back just a little bit here, and then I'm just looking to tap the wall with my toes roughly in line with my hip. Doesn't matter if it's not perfect or if you're wobbling, it's just a good test. So you're going to come back about the length of one of your legs from the wall. And then leaning forwards, you'll put your hands flat against the wall and maybe just feel this out here, see how this feels in the shoulders. You're looking to keep the same sensations that we use in downward facing dog when you roll the upper arms outwards. So you're looking to externally rotate through the biceps here and feel the active shoulders. From here, when you feel ready, you're going to take a deep breath on inhale. Exhaling, you're going to start to sink the chest towards the floor, maybe bringing the hands down the wall with you as you move in to your downward facing dog against the wall here, reaching the hips up and back for the back of the room, lengthening out through the whole of the back body. And here, you could maybe give the head a shake, you can let the head drop down, you're letting the chest melt down between the hands, using the hands strong on the wall to support you. Feeling the stretch run all the way up the front of the body, maybe through the armpits, through the front of the chest. Take a big inhale breath here. Exhale, you're going to bend at the elbows maybe and roll the weight forwards back into the toes as you come up to stand. We're going to make our way into a chest stretch here on the wall. Give yourself a little bit of help coming back up to stand. And then you're going to come to stand exactly up against the wall with your hip almost touching. So give yourself a little bit of space to move, but you want the hip really close to the wall. From here, you're going to ground down the back foot and take a big step forwards. Your step forwards brings you into a high lunge. So you're bending in the front knee and sinking down the back heel. You want to feel the hips a headlamp square for the top of your mat. You're going to take the hand that's closest to the wall and flipping the palm over, bring it up the inside of your hip closest to the wall, and you're going to just start to spider walk the fingertips up the wall behind you. You'll see this better when I do my other side. You're going to walk the fingertips up the wall behind you until they're maybe shoulder height. You're taking the left shoulder back, feeling breadth across the collarbones here. You can use the left hand on the hip to support you. Keep the left hip crease back, front knee tracking forwards. As you feel the stretch starting to come on in the pectoral muscles in the front of the chest, and the little tiny muscles that wrap through the shoulder joint. From here, there are other options. You could maybe let the left shoulder tip towards the left ear tip towards the left shoulder even, and you can just start to massage out through your own kind of chest and neck muscles here. That might feel really nice. If you've got a tennis ball handy, you can roll a tennis ball across the front of the chest. That feels really lovely. Final option, if you don't need this hand for support or for self-massage, you can take the left hand back around behind you and catch up the inside of the right hip, using it to guide you back in space. So taking the left shoulder back as the right shoulder comes forwards, deepening the stretch. Take one last big breath here, breathing through the nose. Lovely. To release, you're going to release the left hand first of all if you've got it locked up, and then you're going to spider walk the right fingertips down the wall. Let the stretch soften off first, maybe just let the arm hang. You're going to step back foot, forwards to front foot and give the shoulder a roll, and then we're switching over. Take a turn here, and again, hip closest to the wall is going to stay where it is. You're going to step the right foot forwards now. So right foot steps into your low lunge, bending in the front knee, grounding down both heels and checking the hips are headlamp square for the back of the mat now. So the hips should be level and square for the back of the mat. You'll take the left hand back behind you, eye of the elbow facing into the wall, and from here, you should be able to see this clearly this side. You walk the left hand up the wall behind you until it's level with the shoulder. Feel free, this hand doesn't have to stay in one position. You can satellite dish it around to try and work out what feels good for you, and then you're peeling right shoulder back, right hand can come onto right hip. You're keeping the hips square. Use that hand to guide the right hip back in space a touch maybe. Breathing here the whole time. Big breaths through the nose, especially if this feels intense for you. And then maybe if you want to, you can think about dropping right ear to right shoulder, lovely stretch. all down this side of the neck. Again, you've got the self-massage with a tennis ball, or wrapping the right arm back behind you to catch the inside of the left hip. Use that grip to guide the right shoulder back into space. Take another big breath here. Exhaling through the nose. To release, you're going to creep these fingertips down the wall, releasing the right hand as you go. Let the hand soften off first, maybe give it a little bit of a shake, and then we're going to find our way into a stretch. So we've stretched out across the front of the shoulders. We're going to come to stretch up the back of the shoulders, particularly in the tiny rotator cuff muscles. So facing up to the wall again. You want to be a couple of feet, maybe 1.5, 2 foot away from the wall here, and you're going to bring the forearms to rest on the wall, interlacing all 10 fingers. Release the elbows down to the wall, and from here, you're just going to start to scoot the elbows up and sink the shoulders forwards. So you're finding a stretch here in the tiny muscles that run through the backs of the shoulder joints. You're looking to keep the elbows roughly hip-width distance apart, so try not to let them sort of fall out to the sides. You're going to keep them in this triangle shape, like a capital letter A. You're going to sink the chest towards the wall, and if you get there, you could just bring your forehead to rest on the wall as you stretch through the armpits, the backs of the arms, the triceps, and the little muscles in the shoulder joints. You're keeping that sensation of externally rotating the upper arms. And if you feel like you're just sagging in the lower back, if the kind of lower back is switched off here, just think about closing in the ribs and pulling the belly button up towards the spine, and maybe drawing up on the quadriceps to keep the legs a bit stronger. Whole foundation should feel strong to allow you to find some softness in and around the shoulders. Taking one last breath here. To release, you're going to slide the hands down the wall. That will guide you up and away from the wall. And we're going to make our way down to the floor. So you're going to find your way down to the floor any way that feels comfortable. I'd suggest here, just because we're going to put some pressure through the hips, maybe taking a blanket that you can lay underneath the back. That's going to give you a little bit more support. So coming down to find yourself in a comfortable seat, taking what you need, and we're going to take our pigeon pose against the wall. So using the wall for support. You're going to scoot up close to the wall, toes up against the wall, and then you're laying yourself down here on your back. Knees point up the wall, and from here, you're going to start on the right, draw the right foot, right ankle up and over the left kneecap. So you've got your figure 4, your reclining pigeon shape. From here, all you're going to do is creep the left toes up the wall, starting to turn on that stretch in the right hip. So you don't need to pull with the hands here, which means the shoulders can stay really soft on the mat. If you would like to give the knee a bit of support, sometimes when we're in this shape on the floor, we use the elbow to push the knee away. You can keep that sensation, just keeping the elbow grounded and using the hand to support the knee here. So straight arm from wrist to elbow, just keeping the arm stacked up so it's not doing too much pushing, it's just supporting gently. Keep the toes turned on, flexing back towards your knee. And you're breathing softly here through the nose. Maybe taking one more breath here. To change, you're going to see if you can creep the left toes down the wall. So you will come back to the floor. If you can't, and you need to unhook the foot to get down, that's fine, go with that. We're going to take the left ankle up and over the right, so we're taking the same stretch on the opposite side as you creep the right toes up the wall to switch on the stretch. So notice here how, if I pushed with my foot, I could lift my hips up off the floor. I don't want my hips to come any higher than they just sort of naturally peel up as I draw this right knee in. You want to keep the hips grounded down on the floor. You're going to turn the toes on towards the knee, and again, maybe you can see it better this side. I'm going to use the hand to just support the knee up and away, keeping the wrist stacked over the elbow. So the bones are stacked in the arm, and the arm isn't sort of gripping and pushing and muscling through. It's just stacked up to provide some support. So you're taking a few deep breaths here. Noticing what's going on in the left hip. Using the breath to keep yourself in the posture. Even when it potentially starts to get a bit noisy and pinchy, taking one more big breath here. Lovely. We're going to release taking the left hand away and the right toes down the wall. Maybe just give the legs a bit of a shake here just to let them be a bit soft. And then we're going to shuffle the hips forward. So bring the feet up onto the wall and you're going to walk the hips in one at a time, rolling the body right and left, never graceful, but like I've said before, if I'm doing it on the internet, I'm sure you can do it in the privacy of your own home. Scoot yourself forwards here, drawing the legs up the wall. So you're looking for the legs nice and long up the wall, the hips as square to the wall as you can get, so the bum up against the wall. And you've got options here. You can have the knees soft and the heels supported. You could maybe start to straighten out the legs, have the toes heavy. You can have feet together if that feels good, dropping all of the weight down through the hip joints. Or you can have the feet slightly wider apart. If you like to have the feet slightly wider apart, why not consider putting a knot in the end of the dressing gown cord and using it like a big loop to support the feet from falling away from each other. Just pop it around the ankles and it'll keep the feet supported here. That feels really nice if you're planning on spending more than a couple of breaths here. So this is a lovely posture to act as a restorative shape for the legs and the hips. So it lets the weight of the legs drop back down into the hip sockets, the heavy femur bones dropping down into the hips and feeling really grounded across the low back, the belly and the hips here. So hands on the belly can feel nice, maybe one hand on the belly, one hand on the chest. And once you've settled in, stay here for as long as you like. Pause the video, hang out here for a few breaths. If you're moving with me, maybe taking one more breath here. To come down, you'll carefully, maybe giving the legs some help, draw the knees down into the chest. Support yourself as you go. Maybe it might feel nice to give the knees a little hug here, a little rock from side to side, and then you'll roll onto whichever side you like, letting the body be soft there for at least one breath. Pressing down into the top hand, you can support yourself as you come up to sit, find a comfortable seat, and just take one last quiet moment here. So one last moment in stillness. If it's interesting to you, feel free to draw the hands to heart center as you seal your practice. Thank you all so much. It's been lovely practicing with you.